So OpenAI was actually started, and it was meant to be open source. I named it OpenAI after open source. It is, in fact, closed source, super closed. It should be renamed super closed source for maximum profit AI. I have mixed feelings about Sam. I do, the ring of power, can corrupt. And this is the ring of power. Well, the whole arc of OpenAI, frankly, is a little troubling because the reason for starting OpenAI was to create a counterweight to Google and DeepMind, which at the time had 2/3 of all AI talent and basically infinite money and compute, and there was no counterweight. It was a unipolar world. And Larry and Paige and I used to be very close friends, and I would stay at his house, and I would talk to Larry into the late hours of the night about AI safety. And it became apparent to me that Larry did not care about AI safety. I think perhaps the thing that gave it away was when he called me a speciesist for being pro-humanity. As in, like a racist, right, but for species. So I'm like, wait a second, what side are you on, Larry? And then I'm like, okay, listen, this guy's calling me a speciesist. He doesn't care about AI safety. We've got to have some counterpoint here because this seems like we could be, this is no good. So OpenAI was actually started, and it was meant to be open source. I named it OpenAI after open source. It is, in fact, closed source, super closed. It should be renamed super closed source for maximum profit AI. So, because this is what it actually is. I mean, Faye loves irony. I mean, in fact, a friend of mine says like the way to predict outcomes is the most ironic outcome is the most, it's like this Occam's razor, like the simplest sort of explanation is most likely. And my friend Jonah's view is that the most ironic outcome is the most likely. And that's what's happened with OpenAI. It's gone from an open source foundation, a 501c3, to suddenly it's like a $90 billion for-profit corporation with closed source. So I don't know how you go from here to there, but that seems like I don't know how you get, I don't know, is this legal?
And
I'm
so,
like, that's legal?
so as you saw Sam Altman get ousted by somebody you know, Ilya, and Ilya was a friend of yours.
Yes.
You brought him there. Your relationship with Larry Page effectively broke down over you recruiting him away, I think.
That's correct. That was the fight. Larry refused to be friends with me after I recruited Ilya.
And so here's Ilya apparently saying something is very wrong.
I think we should be concerned about this because I think Ilya actually has a strong moral compass. He thinks about, he really sweats it over questions of what is right. And if Ilya felt strongly enough to want to, fire Sam, well, I think the world should know what was that reason.
Have you talked to him?
I've reached out, but he doesn't want to talk to anyone.
Have you talked to other people behind the scenes as this is all happening?
I've talked to a lot of people. I've not found anyone who knows why. Have you?
I think we are all still trying to find out.
I mean, look, one of two things is either it was a serious thing and we should know what it is, or it was not a serious thing and then the board should resign.
What do you think of Sam Altman?
I have mixed feelings about Sam. I do, the ring of power, can corrupt. And this is the ring of power. So, I don't know. I want to know why Ilya felt so strongly as to fire Sam. This sounds like a serious thing. I don't think it was trivial. and I'm quite concerned that there's some, dangerous element of AI that they've created.
Discovered?
Yes.
You think they've discovered something?
That'll be my guess.
Where are you with your own AI efforts relative to where you think OpenAI is, where you think Google is, where you think the others are?
I mean, on the AI front, I'm in somewhat of a quandary here because I've thought AI could be something that would change the world in a significant way since I was in college, like 30 years ago. Now, the reason I didn't go build AI right from the get-go was because I was uncertain about which edge of the double-edged sword would be sharper, the good edge or the bad edge. So I held off on doing anything on AI. I could have created, I think, the leading AI company, and kind of OpenAI actually kind of is that. Because I was just uncertain, if you make this magic genie, what will happen? Whereas I think building sustainable energy technology is much more of a single-edged sword that is single-edged good. Making life multiplanetary, I think single-edged good. Starlink, mostly single-edged good. Giving people better connectivity to people that don't have connectivity or too expensive, I think is very much a good thing. Starlink was instrumental, by the way, in halting the Russian advance, and the Ukrainians said so. I think but with AI, you've got the magic genie problem. You may think you want a magic genie, but once that genie's out of the bottle, it's hard to say what happens.
How far are we away from that genie being out of the bottle, you think? We think it's already out?
The genie is certainly poking its head out.
The AGI, the idea of artificial general intelligence, given what you now are working on yourself, and you know how easy or hard it is to train, to create the inferences, to create the weights. I hope I'm not getting too far in the weeds of just how this works, but those are the basics behind the software end of this.
It's funny, all these weights, they're just basically numbers in a comma-separated value file. And that's our digital God, a CSV file. I found that funny. But that's kind of literally what it is. So I think it's coming pretty fast,
Is that, you famously have admitted to overstating how quickly things will happen, but how quickly do you think this will happen?
If you say smarter than the smartest human at anything,
yep,
it may not be then quite smarter than all humans, all machine-augmented humans, because people have got computers and stuff. There's a higher bar. But if you say smarter than any, can write as good a novel as, say, J.K. Rowling, or discover new physics, or invent new technology, I would say that we are less than 3 years from that point.
Let me ask you a question about XAI and what you're doing. And because there's an interesting thing that's different, I think, about what you have relative to some of the others, which is you have data, you have information, you have all of the stuff that everybody in here has put on the platform to sort through. And I don't know if everybody realized that initially. What is the value of that?
Yeah, data is very important. You could say data is probably more valuable than gold.
But then maybe you have the gold in X in a different way. In a way, again, that I don't know if the public appreciates what that means.
Yes, X might be the single best source of data. It is, there are more people links that go to people click on more links to X than anything else on Earth. Sometimes people think Facebook or Instagram is a bigger thing, but actually there are more links to X than anything. There's public information. You can Google it.
Okay, let me ask you a.
So it is where you would find what is happening right now on Earth at any given point in time. The whole OpenAI drama played out, in fact, on the X platform. So it is one of the. It's not. Google certainly has a massive amount of data. So does Microsoft. So it's not like, but it is one of the best sources of data.
Can I ask you an interesting IP issue, which I think is actually something I can say as somebody who's in the creator business and journalistic business and whatnot, or care about copyright. So one of the things about training on data has been this idea that you're not going to train, or that these things are not being trained on people's copyrighted information. Historically, that's been the concept.
Yeah, that's a huge lie.
Say that again?
Yes, these AIs are all trained on copyrighted data, obviously.
So you think it's a lie when OpenAI says that this is not, none of these guys say they're training on copyrighted data?
Oh, that's a lie.
It's a lie, straight up.
It's a straight up lie.
Okay.
100%.
So then,
obviously, it's been trained on copyrighted data.
Okay, so let me ask you a second question, which is all of the people who have been uploading.
I mean, it's like one every minute. Yeah.
All of the people who have been uploading articles, the best quotes from different articles, videos to X. All of that can be trained on. And it's interesting because people put all of that there, and those quotes have historically been considered fair use, right? People are putting those quotes up there. And individually, on a fair use basis, you'd say, okay, that makes sense. But now there are people who do threads, and by the way, there may be multiple people who've done an article that has 1,000 words. Technically, all 1,000 words could have made it onto X somehow. And effectively, now you have this remarkable repository. And I wonder how you think about that, again, and how you think the creative community and those who were the original IP owners should think about that.
I don't know, except to say that by the time these lawsuits are decided, we'll have digital God. So you have to ask digital God at that point. These lawsuits won't be decided before on a time frame that is relevant.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think we live, there's that, I don't know if it's actually a real Chinese saying or not, but may you live in interesting times.
Right.
It's apparently not a good thing. But I would prefer to, personally, I would prefer to live in interesting times. And we live in the most interesting of times. I think, and for a while there, I was like really getting demotivated and losing sleep over the threat of AI danger. And then I finally sort of became fatalistic about it and said, well, even if I knew annihilation was certain, would I choose to be alive at that time or not? And I said I probably would choose to be alive at that time because it's the most interesting thing, even if there's nothing I could do about it. So then, basically, sort of a fatalistic resignation helped me sleep at night because I was having trouble sleeping at night because of AI danger. Now, what to do about it? I mean, I've been the biggest, the one banging the drum the hardest, by far the longest, or at least one of the longest for AI danger. And these regulatory things that are happening, the single biggest reason they're happening is because of me.
Do you think they're ever going to get their arms around it? We talked to the vice president this afternoon. She said she wants to regulate it. People have been trying to regulate social media for years and have done nothing effectively.
Well, there's regulation around anything which is like a physical danger or a danger to the public. So like cars are heavily regulated, communications are heavily regulated, rockets and aircraft are heavily regulated. The general philosophy about regulation is that when something is a danger to the public, that there needs to be some government oversight. So I think, in my view, AI is more dangerous than nuclear bombs. And we regulate nuclear bombs. You can't just go make a nuclear bomb in your backyard. I think we should have some kind of regulation with AI. Now, this tends to cause the AI accelerationists to get up in arms because they think AI is sort of heaven, basically.